Hey everybody, and welcome back to another book review. So I just finished A Well-Behaved Woman, which is a novel about Alva Vanderbilt, or Smith Vanderbilt Belmont, by Therese and Fowler. And it was a very interesting book. I've kind of been in this Gilded Age mood for a while, and I love the show, The Gilded Age, and people kept talking about the fact that one of the main characters in the show was based on Alva Vanderbilt, or loosely based on Alva Vanderbilt. And so I was like, well, let me, read a little bit more about her. Even though this is a novel, it did still have quite a bit of historically accurate information about Alva. But it is still a novel, still definitely a dramatized version of her life. So the book, or in the book, it begins when she is just out into society looking for a husband, how she winds up marrying William K. Vanderbilt, and just kind of her life after that, she was really supposedly marrying William for money, for survival, really. Her family had been very poor, and her father had lost a lot of his money, and just kind of that relationship also discusses, or the book also discusses, her relationship with Consuelo Iznaga, who eventually becomes the Duchess. Oh my goodness, cannot think of the name of it right now. One of the M's over in England, she marries a duke. And then kind of how that leads to her daughter, the other Consuelo, to doing something very similar, where she marries the Duke of Marlborough. So there's a lot of kind of cool information in the story, and I thought it was a good, well-written book. Like, totally makes sense that characters in the show The Gilded Age are based off of the characters in this book, or just real life historic people, without actually making them those people. I would still totally pay to watch a show based on this book, honestly. But one of the things I really didn't like about the book, and it totally makes sense because it's the 19th century, right? But Alva comes from the South, and her father is obviously a Confederate sympathizer, and the book kind of makes it seem like her maid, who used to be an enslaved girl to the family, she makes it, the author made it seem like they become best friends at the end, and I just really didn't like that. I did not like this whole concept of, like, she's my friend now, and I'm like, she's not your friend. Like, she's a maid who you were forced to release, at least in the story. This is not a real person, by the way. But I just didn't like the way that the author just kind of made it seem like, oh, she really was very supportive of African Americans and stuff. And Alva Vanderbilt did speak very in depth about African American women getting the right to vote when she was working with the suffragists. But at the same time, it was just like, she's not your friend, and stop trying to make it seem like that. It really bothered me, just the way that the character was written, in terms of, you've got this black maid who, like, supposedly is now really great friends. Like, no. I'm also drastically curious about Consuelo Iznaga. Again, Consuelo supposedly and Alva Vanderbilt were best friends in their later teenage years, early 20s. And when Alva divorces William K. Vanderbilt, part of the reason that she does so is because of adultery. And it is hinted at frequently, and there's been a lot of stories and such saying that he was actually sleeping with Consuelo. Consuelo is not Consuelo, their daughter. And what really drew me to Consuelo, not because of, the adultery piece, but Consuelo Iznaga is a Cuban American woman. And I was just sitting there, like, when I first, started reading the book, I was like, oh, who is this Consuelo person? Of course I have to go look her up. And if you look at pictures of her, she, just looks like your average American, but I'm still sitting here like, it's so fascinating to me that we really struggle in modern America to accept women of color as, simply women of color. And Consuelo is a classic example of, she's a woman of color. She's from Cuba, but she is white passing, and white passing so much that she actually marries a duke in England. It was just fascinating to me, and I was like, I want to know more about her and more about her life. I'd love to. I'm gonna see if there's any novels or books or anything kind of more relating to her, because that is just fascinating to me. Just really kind of a power piece there. Of course, in this book, she is used as she was my best friend and then she slept with my husband, really hinting at the fact that, like, they've been on and off as an affair for almost 20 years, almost the entirety of Alva and William's marriage. So that was very, very fascinating to me. And that was pretty much the most fascinating part of the whole book. It was the part that, is not really spoken much about. She's a character in the book, but not much more. But overall, I didn't hate the book. I thought it was very interesting. I also really liked the author's note and kind of diving into a little bit more about why she wrote about Alva Vanderbilt. I just really didn't like the way that she wrote the African American character, and also in the author's note, she talks about, like, oh, it's so important that she was fighting for African Americans' rights when a lot of women, especially white women in the suffragist movement, were not doing so. And I'm like, cool, great, but you made the character awful. Like, it was weird. So yeah, there you have it. Again, A Well-Behaved Woman, novel of Alva Vanderbilt by Therese and Fowler. Really good book, 3.75 out of 5. But yeah, so I look forward to reading some more. One of the next books on my list is about Consuelo. So is about Consuelo Vanderbilt, not Consuelo Iznaga. That's so confusing. But I'm excited to kind of dive into the family a little bit more, because it's really fascinating, and it also gives me more understanding to some of the kind of hints and history in the TV show Gilded Age. So there you have it. Thank you, as always, for watching this book review, and make sure that you continue to comment books. I got a really good one on one of my previous videos, and ironically, the author was mentioned in the book that I just finished. So I'm looking forward to that. I've also got some educator books coming up that I have to read for school. So I'll be on the lookout for some educator stuff. And I will talk to all of you in the next book review. Bye.